And I'm trying to get out of this sun. Did it say I was going live? Gosh. Sorry. I was up at the garden. I had to move everything. Let's see. Ebola outbreak map. Hi there. How are you? I can't see because of the sun. Let's see. What? Declared by the World Health. Did you guys hear a new Ebola outbreak? Listen, if you watch that Ebola map, hey everybody, Christy H, hey there, Mel, hi there. Let me tell you something. If y'all watch that Ebola map, and then you watch where Africa's on fire and lay it top to top, matches every time, y'all. Hey Herman, how are you? Y'all like my title? Are you crazy or insane? Are you insane? Tell me, are you insane? Sweet Savory Words, Mountain Magic, El Michelle, DB Rhodes. Yes, are y'all insane? Are you insane? Let me tell you, Albert Einstein said that the repetition of the same behavior over and over and over again and expecting a different outcome is the definition of insanity. Okay, let me ask you another question. I didn't want to make my title too long. I thought insane was good enough. Are you a victim? Are you a victim? Somebody can make you a victim once, but if you continue to be a victim, then that's your fault. You have to take control of your life and not be a victim. So, are you crazy? Are you a victim? Well, what in the snot am I talking about? I know, wondering minds are wanting to know. Well, here's what I'm talking about. Do y'all know what this is? Hey, Bones, how are you, buddy? Do y'all know what this is? Does anybody know what I know? Lisa R. Hall and El Michelle will know what this is. Do y'all know what that is? Sweet Savory Words. Cabbage. Yes. Do you see this cabbage in this solo cup? I started this from a little bitty seed. Now, this is one of my nicer cabbages. Here's a cabbage. And if you'll notice, these cups don't have any holes cut in them. I got real busy planting and forgot to cut holes in my cups. This was planted at the same time. This one was tilted over. All the rain that we've had could drain out of this cup. This one was sitting straight up and it couldn't drain the water out. I'm hoping that sun's gone in a little bit. Can you see the difference in these two plants? Pretty sad. Just because I forgot to put holes in the bottom. Okay. Do y'all think, seriously, anybody in a bad situation, or if you've ever been in a bad situation, have you ever honestly had somebody to save you? Or did you have to wiggle your way out of that situation? We have to wiggle our way out of that situation, period. So if year after year, you're not prepping food somehow, and year after year, you keep thinking that elected officials, and why this is so important, we got elections coming up, is going to save you, that's insanity. And when you put the same incumbents back in office and all the promises they made to get reelected, they stick it to you the same way, you're not a victim. You shouldn't have voted those people back into office. Period. Okay? Now, I'm a seasoned gardener. I have never planted red cabbage before. See, this cup still is full of water. I have got to get holes in these cups. That's what I'm doing. This is one red cabbage planted the same time. Here's the other red cabbage. So red cabbage is a little bit more difficult to plant. Okay, this one was started at the same time. This is a Minnesota midget cantaloupe. They obviously grow a little slower. We're talking about gardens. Grow your own food. Grow your own food. That's what we're talking about. You're insane if you think somebody's going to feed you unless you want some fake crap. Okay, at the same time, this Minnesota midget cantaloupe was planted. Everything has a different grow time. This sugar pie pumpkin plant was planted. Look at the difference in these. Okay? I've got potatoes up at the farm. Purple Majesties are up. Yukon Golds are real little. Kenny Bikes haven't even started but poking the ground. They all have different grow times. So this sugar pie pumpkin is going to have a big old vine on it. Okay. This is a Valencino white pumpkin. You can still eat it, but it's decorative. Look at the difference in the size. All these seeds were planted at the same time. But I let this one get a little laggy. It was searching for the sun. So I'm going to have to get this baby in the ground. And I'm going to put some more dirt in this cup, hoover it up to save it. Okay. Brussels sprout. It was planted at the same time. These were planted. Look at the difference. Some of them's a little slower growing, okay? I've made a mess on my table for y'all. I moved all this stuff. Okay. Tomatoes are slow. Peppers are slow. Oh, I didn't bring it. Oh, I've got my peppers right here. Boxcar Willie tomatoes. Look at the difference. This one couldn't stand all the rain. This plant was bigger. It was getting more sun. This one's probably toast. This one's gonna make it. Okay. This is a tray that I got tired. Let me see what this is. These are still Boxcar Willie tomatoes, and these are Roma tomatoes. Okay, here's a tray that I didn't get to. Reach into the sun. Look how laggy they are. I'm gonna be lucky if these make it. I might be buying some Roma tomato plants. The point of this is, am I a perfect gardener? No, I'm not a perfect gardener. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Now, these are the peppers. All of this stuff was planted at the same time. They have different germination rates. These are starting to reach. These have to be put in solo cups tonight and tomorrow, okay? That's why I let these get a little dry so I could get them in the... But these are jalapeno peppers, nadapinos, pablimo, Minnesota midgets, sweet pepper, red sweet pepper. But they all have different germination periods. All of these seeds were, all of the peppers and tomatoes were planted at the same time, and all the cabbage, broccoli, and cabbage, broccoli, and red cabbage, white cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower was all planted at the same time. Okay, then we had a tray that was left outside. It got cold, then it got dry, and it was out of sight. Look at this tray. Look at this tray. This is a leek. Most of this tray got caught in the cold weather. This is a squash, zucchini or yellow, I'm not sure. But it made it. It's a tough little thing because it germinates slower. But look at this tray of seeds. Is this a fail? No, I've got new cups to put new seeds in. I've got hundreds of plants. I'm gonna get all these up potted. Hope and pray those little leggy ones make it. And then I'm gonna start on about 100 different herbs and medicinal. But the point is, I have just given y'all examples, you know, of plants that are going to make it, plants aren't going to make it, the different germination periods. I stopped on my tomato plants. And what I mean by leggy is when they sit at my patio door and they reach for the sun to the point that, look at that poor little old skinny thing. I'll have to plant them deep. These may or may not make it, but I'm going to plant them and see. So anyway, if you expect that somebody's going to come and save you, and you think that year after year after year, and you haven't even tried to plant anything, you probably don't even know that your little plants will, and I can't see, the sun's killing me, I can't see chat. I'd planned on reading chat. But if you think that they're going to save you, now, I've got onions at the farm planted. I like to cook with peppers and onions as seasoning. I will can up my extra peppers, my Roma tomatoes I will use and make my own pizza and spaghetti sauce. The other ones I'll make salsa. Our cabbages, we like to eat cabbage. We like to cook cabbage. I will can cooked cabbage. But most of all, my God, I can't even tell you how many cabbage plants I have over there. We like sauerkraut. So I had to plant a lot of cabbage so we can have sauerkraut. A lot of tomatoes so I can make tomato sauce, tomato paste. I don't know if I'll make tomato paste. That takes so long for it to cook down, but definitely salsa and spaghetti sauce, and I may make the sauces and not even season it when I'm fixing it. I can make it spaghetti sauce, or I can make a pizza sauce, you know, whatever. But you have to understand, you know, that little tomato plant, and apparently there was a second seed in there. Look how big this one is, and here comes a little second. I always put 2 or 3 seeds, you know, because you never know about the germination rate, especially if your seeds are a year or more old. So here's another one. Took it longer to germinate. I'll just separate them. You just very lightly pull their little roots together. But if you have been watching what is going on in this world and you expect that anybody is going to save you, it's not going to happen. So if you keep thinking that year after year after year after year, expecting a different outcome, that's the definition of insanity. If you think that somebody is going to hand you food that is real, and you think that year after year after year after year, that's insanity. Nobody is going to save you. If you are sitting back on your death because you are the victim, somebody burned me once, shame on you, burned me twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, shame on me for letting it bother me, for letting me not take action and take care of myself. So it's not time for a garden tour at the farm yet. The asparagus is doing good. The strawberries are doing good. The potatoes are up. All the beets are up. A seeder I used to the neighbors crushed the carrot seeds, and it's almost too late, to plant the carrots. However, if you plant your carrots under your tomato plants or under your cabbage plants, and those plants grow and mature and are able to give your carrots shade. Now here in August, you know, it's usually 90 plus degrees, and I'm not quite sure all the shade in the world would help a carrot because they like the cooler weather. But in June and July, well, the end of the month, you know, it don't take many days for carrots to come up. But June and July, when it's reasonable, the cabbages are already big. Those carrots, they're going to be, and tomatoes, they're going to be protected from that heat. So in June and July, I can get carrots, especially the tomatoes. Tomatoes love carrots. They help each other fight pests and stuff. I do have a book. Y'all can buy it if you want to. Carrots love tomatoes, or tomatoes love carrots. I forget. Tells you which vegetable and which herb to plant together to help with your pest control. With weeds, get hay or straw. I am kind of, when I do my garden tour, I am kind of doing a Ruth Stout method. If y'all aren't familiar with Ruth Stout, she just lays potatoes down on the ground and covers them with a big pile of straw or hay, and the potatoes grow. Everybody tries it's grow. Well, I'm old-fashioned, so I have started my potatoes in heels. The way I was taught to do it by my grandpa. He was always successful. But it's not high heels. I will heel it with my leaf mold dirt one time and get a good base of a heel around it. And then I'm going to cover that stuff. I have found a place where to get organic, non-sprayed with anything, straw or hay, whichever one that I want to use. Yeah, you might get some seeds, but like whoever said 100 years ago, and now everybody says it, almost every garden YouTube channel says it, if you don't cover Mother Nature, she's going to cover herself. She's a modest. So if you don't cover it with something, she's going to cover herself with weeds. So I am going to use straw and hay probably, but make sure it is organic. And listen, organic means it was grown with no pesticides. There is no ruling by the FDA questioning what happens after it's harvested. So a lot of your organic hay and straw that was not sprayed with pesticides while it was growing has been sprayed after the fact. So you have to ask, call the company, find out where, I'm sure Tractor Supply gets all that stuff. It's been sprayed. So you have to find out, was it sprayed after it was cut to truly have organic. And luckily I found somebody that has organic compost, organic potting soil, organic straw, organic hay. I didn't think I was going to be able to find anybody, but I have. But if you're not growing in, you know, you can look up a lot of these channels. They show you how to cut the bottoms off of Pepsi or Coke 2-liter bottles and hang them on a wall, and how many doggone plants you can grow. If you're not searching how to grow vertically, how to grow in a limited space, and you're worried about the food, and you're not taking action, then that is an insane victim. Sorry, but we're running out of time, folks. It's not time to be nice. I'm worried about people feeding themselves. You can get 5-gallon buckets. You only put about 4 inches of dirt or soil, potting soil, in the bottom of the bucket. And as that plant starts to grow, then you put more soil on it until you're about at the top of your 5-gallon bucket, and then you stop and your potatoes grow in there. You can put 1 potato, you can put 2 or 3. I wouldn't put more than 3 pieces with 2 eyes on it. But you can, you know, you can put your buckets vertical. You can definitely grow tomatoes in 2-liter bottles, peppers in 2-liter bottles. And what you do, I meant to bring the tomato out here. I've got a tomato plant. To help stop any of your diseases from your plants, you break all of the leaves off that can touch the soil. If it's not touching the soil, it's less likely to get some kind of disease. And we're growing fruit. We're growing tomatoes and peppers and all that stuff. We're not growing leaves. And as that plant continues to mature, right over here in the corner one year, we had one tomato plant that provided us with all of our meals, tomatoes that we needed from the time we planted it in the middle of May all the way through the end of September. And that sucker was about 10 feet tall, bearing tomatoes, because I kept cutting the branches off. It was a naked stalk, but the tomatoes were growing where the tomatoes needed to grow. So, you know, that's in the summer. there wasn't enough on that one to can, but it was enough to feed 2 or 3 households when we wanted tomatoes for anything. So if that one will do it, if you take care of it properly, don't listen to me. I'm not an expert. I'm the same as y'all. Start watching these, channels. I'd watch Deep South Homestead, Roots and Refuge. Appalachia's Homestead did show the backup planting, but there's a lot of the channels from the Eastern Hemisphere that show you the vertical planting. I would look it up. Man, y'all are just chatting. I'll go back and read chat, but I wanted you to see I've got successes, I've got failures. That's just the way it happens. I planted too many seeds. My gosh, I have 65 red Solo cups over there in a box to take to the farm, and it's all different varieties of tomatoes. I just showed y'all my leggy tomato plants. Then I've showed you, these are, look at these. Look how many pepper plants are in each one of these sales, y'all. I want a can. That is a lot of plants. That is a lot of plants. I can give away, and I can still can from half of those plants. Half. If you have a spot that you have 10 plants, you don't ever need 10 plants. 1 or 2 plants of squash, 1 or 2 plants of zucchini, 1 or 2 plants of any pumpkin, any squash. That's your Cherokee Indian, that's your butternut, that's your winter squash, all the squashes. 1 or 2 plants will feed you, and you can can it, so you can put it in soups. If you don't like squash, squash picks up the flavor of whatever you cook it in. You can minimize the amount of potatoes you're going to use by putting squash in it and beef up your soups. So anyway, I just wanted to say, elections are coming up. If you like what state the country's in, by all means, tell everybody vote for those incumbents. Which is insanity. I don't know anybody that likes these gas prices, likes food prices, likes anything that's going on. Not given to us, given to the other countries. Who likes that stuff? If you do that, you have to be insane. Vote for somebody different. Plant you a garden. Figure out what can you do different, not to be doing the same thing. Or that's even a thought process. If you keep thinking the same thing over and over and over, thinking it's going to be different, insane. Take action. Don't sit back and be a victim. Take action. Now, I think this is a pretty racy little video. It's probably the most blunt and straightforward as far as prepping as I've ever been. We're getting ready to have another toilet paper shortage. There's already a paper plate shortage. We're seeing brands that we've never seen before. Prices are going up, 10 to 20% on everything every week. If nothing else, if you want to can yourself something just in case the prices are higher and you can't afford meat next year, or go buy you some pre-canned chicken, pre-canned tuna, pre-canned pinto beans, or bags of pinto beans that, that's protein. Eggs. Get you a couple of chickens. Look up the vitamins and minerals and the good fat that's in an egg. You can solely survive off of a doggone egg and a sweet potato. Might get old and tired of that. I'm not interested in having any, food fatigue. That's why I want to spice it up a little bit. Look, that poor little thing, I'll let it get too wet. Pull those off. That's my fault. They just pop off. But I've got some beauties over there, like this one. It didn't even have any holes in this one, but it was tilted. See, that's why it's kind of leaning. It was tilted and it didn't get as much water. But this one will pop back. But we want sauerkraut. Don't get stuff you won't eat. See my turkeys. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Oh, now they're not going to answer me. And I've got bugs. I forgot to mention, I've got bugs. Look at that. A bug has got a hold of my red cabbage. But it was laying down a little bit too low. That's my fault. And of course the rain. And I didn't put holes in these, so I've got to get my box cutter, or you can use kitchen scissors. And all I do is cut just a little slit, 2 or 3 little slits on the bottom so they'll drain. But understand they have different germination rate. Look at that little baby thing. Minnesota midget cantaloupe. I don't know. I've never tried to grow cantaloupe in my life. Might be an epic fail. But I know we can grow pumpkins, and I want to can pumpkin. Look at this squash. I know we can grow squash. My gosh, the deer ate all my squash last year, but my squash vine, I had 2 plants and ran them down the hill. They were probably 15 feet long each, and the deer ate them all. But the bone sauce is working, and I'm working on my electric fence. So anyway, stop thinking things are going to change by no action. Nothing changes from the way it is with no action. Nothing. You have to take some kind of action. And I am truly worried about people eating. Is it easy work? No, it's not easy. There's not an easy, look, I started these plants, had my kitchen covered in plants. You got the inconvenience of that. You know, tomorrow night, it's going to be 74 at the farm through the day. And tomorrow night, it's going to be 37. That's a little bit too cold for green beans, tomatoes, and peppers. So the rest of the week, it's going to be in the 40s at night. They can tolerate that. But I'm going to have to wait till the next week to see what the powers to be, not Mother Nature, is going to do with our weather, to see if I can get my peppers and tomatoes that are bigger than this in the ground. So yeah, it's a pain. I've got them over here in a little raised bed that I made a makeshift, took a 4 mil plastic and made a little makeshift greenhouse for them. It's not easy, but you know, the Bible commands you to feed your family. Feed your family. Feed yourself. There's nothing lazy about anybody. Get yourself a year's worth of food. Work on it slowly but surely, because, you know, the 7th year we need to let that garden rest. So that means we need 2 years worth of food to let that garden rest a year. So you have 6 years to build on what you pressure can and to grow what you need to feed your family. How do you figure that out? There's 165 days in the year, 52 weeks. How many meats, pinto beans, potatoes, green beans, spaghetti, you know, how many of the things that you cook with and eat on a regular basis, how many times a week do you want pinto beans? How many times a week do you want chicken? Do you want beef? Do you want, you know, even the cheap beef, you know, hamburger or cheap cut of steak or beef roast? How many times a week do you want to do those? How many times a week do you just want to have soup? You know, that's how you figure out how many. I have figured out that I am very lacking in my canning jars. If something were to happen and we were supposed to be made to depend upon Uncle Sam to feed us, I actually need about 1,200 jars of canned food, and that's a combination of fruits. I mean, yeah, jellies for fruits. I do those in pint jars, butter in pint jars, quart jars for the meat and the soup, and I'll put sauerkraut in quart jars and cooked cabbage in cooked jars and corn in quart jars. You know, to feed all of us, I am probably, and I don't even count the pinto beans. I'm not going to waste my jars on can of pinto beans anymore. I'll probably need 1,200 jars, combination of pints and quarts, to feed everybody. Now, I'm not going to can potatoes. Potatoes last. I am going to have to can some onions because I'm not planting enough onions to dry and braid and hang to get a year's worth of onions. So in pint jars, I am going to can some peppers and onions. So, you know, that's a lot of food, y'all. You know, just start counting how much you eat. Now, and that's eating more than 1 meal a day. If we need to cut back and eat 1 meal a day, we can do that. But you better doggone make sure that 1 meal a day has enough vitamins, proteins, and fats in it to sustain you. You know, rice is a great filler, but that's pretty much a filler. Oatmeal's good. If you don't like oatmeal, can you some fruit, mix it up with the fruit. You know, find ways. Let me tell you, did y'all know in Poland, I know for a fact, I don't know if here, but whatever meat they could get their hands on when the ration cards started, and this is what's got me worried, ration cards. Do you know they got whatever little bit of meat that week they were rationed on, and they used sawdust? You know, everybody freaks the hell out because, oh my God, so-and-so, this manufacturer puts sawdust. It's the fine little powdery sawdust in our food. Back in WW2, I know for a fact, they purposely put sawdust to make a pan of meatloaf. Then there was a bread. They didn't have enough ration for flour. They put sawdust in it. They said it didn't taste much like bread. They didn't have yeast. I guess they didn't know about sourdough starter. You better be practicing your sourdough starter, y'all, because there ain't going to be no yeast. You better be stocking up on your flour and cornmeal, I'm telling you. My stock this month from Youre Standard was going to be avocado oil. And I don't know if y'all heard a couple of weeks ago, their headquarters burned to the ground. And the reason it burnt so fast and was such a long fire, their headquarter warehouse was where they kept all their oil. So they have no oil to sell Youre Standard, and all their stuff's organic. But I've been buying pinto beans from them and oatmeal, hash, flour, and cornmeal. And I thought it was pretty good with, you know, and they come in 50-pound bags. I thought maybe I better start on the oil. Well, can't get any oil, so I better run back to Aldi's. I'm sure the price has gone up since I've bought it at Aldi's because I was planning on this case from Youre Standard. But anyway, don't be insane. Don't be a victim. Get busy. Get to work. And I will watch your comments a little bit later. I don't want to worry about you being hungry. Get to vacuum sealing in jars or in bags. However, you know, you feel that it's best for you. Look up how you dry can in an oven. You put it on 200, put your cans in there, leave them for 30 minutes, let them get sanitized. Boil your lids and rings and sanitize them. Then put your crackers or your your pasta if you want to, and you have it at 150 to 200. Leave it in the oven for 20 to 30 minutes. Put your lid and ring on it. It will seal itself. I've got dry can jars that I did in the oven from 2019 that are still sealed. But you got to be careful. Watch it. You want it hot. You want your ingredient hot, but you don't want it to cook it. You don't want it to burn it. So you got to be careful with that. I don't think I've done a video on that. I'm not quite sure. Maybe with that vacuum seal. I'm not sure. I did it too many years ago. But anyway, there's ways. There's tons and tons and tons of YouTube videos for anything that you want to watch. Oh, my turkeys can't stand my son's truck. But anyway, I'm going to let y'all go. Get to thinking about it. Don't be insane. Don't be a victim. I love ya. Say your prayers. Prep your soul first. And until next time. Yes, Goldie. Goldie's saying bye. Get busy. So anyway, love y'all.